Alrighty, guys, we are back. It's your boy EQ. And up next, we have DJ Akademiks speaking on fans questioning Kendrick Lamar and his numbers after the recent wave of bot removals by Spotify. And I don't think the Drake stands or ACK actually know how monthly listeners actually work, or if this is just another badly constructed narrative to devalue Kendrick yet again, because there has definitely been plenty. If monthly listeners is what they're using to come to their conclusions. What they've been referring to is that Kendrick Lamar's monthly listeners went from 110 million to 98 million, and it's quite the coincidence that it coincided with it being a few days after the monthly mark of his historic day at the Grammys, where he swept his Grammy nominations, something that would obviously create a huge surge in his music streams and monthly listeners. Some that would obviously come from curious listeners compelled to listen to after that broadcast, as it obviously would have and will for any other artist. But it still is hilarious that the Drake stans don't realize that monthly listeners fluctuate from month to month, with the numbers turning over every 30 to 31 days. And these people pushing these narratives are obviously grasping at straws, and it doesn't take a genius to poke holes in these theories. And didn't ACK just recently speak to his contact over at Spotify that confirmed that Kendrick Lamar streams were real and legit? And the fact that we can't point to any of Kendrick's songs showing a decrease in streams is all I need to confirm what I feel is the case. That monthly listeners fluctuate, especially when those months feature career-defining moments like the Grammys or the halftime show. So this is pure lunacy and coping at its finest. But enough dilly-dallying, let's jump right into the video, where we have DJ Akademiks speaking on fans questioning Kendrick Lamar and his numbers after the recent wave of bot removals by Spotify. Again, a total lack of comprehension skills by these crazed stans yet again.
Let's talk about Kendrick. I'm going to be honest with y'all, chat. I've heard Kendrick isn't that either until recently. I heard, this is a story told to me, could be wrong. They said Kendrick wasn't into botting until him and his team thought the only way Drake could be that big, Drake had to be botting, so they start botting.
Well, those botting rumors have followed Drake for a very long time. To a lot of people, that God's Plan run, while obviously a big record, seemed artificially inflated. And guys, I've been signed as a producer for the last 5 years now. Bots are just an industry-wide thing. Everyone is using them. And for the artists that want to say they don't exist, or the fans that want to say they don't exist, these type of tactics have existed since before streaming. Before the extinction of physical media, other than obviously like niche drops, because you still have people putting out boutique pressings of vinyls and stuff like that fans do buy. These record companies used to use the same exact tactics, but instead of buying streams, they would buy physical copies of the albums. Something that the mainstream public wouldn't know. A lot of these labels had an allotted amount of the budget dedicated just for this. And what's stopping these labels from just repackaging these albums and selling them back to retailers when they need to restock, effectively double dipping in numbers? So this is something that's always been in the industry, even if people want to claim it doesn't exist. I've got homies that have worked with Shakira, Selena Gomez, Bad Bunny, even Drake, and I can almost certainly tell you that they're all using bots and a bunch of other tactics in their marketing attempts. Some of these artists probably don't even know themselves. I mean, there's tons of these artists that come out basically saying they don't understand or know any of the details of their contract. They just signed for the bag. But this bot argument can't be used in this situation because monthly listeners could fluctuate for a plethora of reasons. Like I said earlier, Kendrick Lamar sweeping the Grammys is going to have a huge increase in monthly listeners from not only his dedicated fan base, but from a bunch of casuals that don't listen to Kendrick Lamar like that. So obviously when that 30-day cycle, those numbers are going to go down.
It's like saying, ain't no way this nigga that smart. He got to be cheating, so you start cheating too. You know what I'm saying? Or you're in baseball and be like, ain't no way this motherfucker is doing all this without some steroids. Let me go get the steroids too. Okay? So from what I want to be honest with y'all. For what I've heard about Kendrick, he's an off-the-muscle artist too, but they started spicing up songs during the battle and they've continued after. Now, nothing crazy. Like, a crazy thing would be like you're giving it 2 to 3 times what the real streams are. Nothing crazy. I'm hearing like 10 to 15% scaled over time. Okay?
That's the norm. I've definitely heard of people even doing a 50% increase. This is all done to increase engagement, especially during that first week period, to work it into the algorithm. But if these people actually think that it's any more than like 10%, it's something that's going to be quickly exposed once it's time to go do these shows and you can't fill out the venue.
Which means, let's say you see a Kendrick song, I don't know, say Squabble Up. Like, I don't know, let's, again, I'm going off of just what I'm hearing. let's go to what should we type in? Kendrick. Yeah, let's go to Kendrick, right? All right, squabble up. Squabble up at 325 million. Now, granted, I think this is the actual number because I think Spotify deleted a bunch of fake streams, which some people claim Kendrick was part of it. But let's say the same.
Akademiks, pretty much every major artist was a part of it.
400 million.
Some more than others, obviously.
I guess I can't. Because we already seen the.
And again, for the people that say that he doesn't bot, at the end of the day, it's really not up to him. The label is just going to do what it does, and honestly, it's been that case forever.
The corrected shit. Okay, let's say this was the inflated numbers. If the inflated numbers was 325, it would be like 50, 60 million, or maybe like 70. But they're not botting. Like, this is what I've heard about. Like, Kendrick ain't botting like half of his streams. He's botting about what's industry standard, a 10 to 15% fluff. And you do it in a scaled way to make the record look like it's taken off early on.
Well, it has to look organic. If you just inflate that 70 million total overnight, obviously it's going to be super sketchy and going to be obviously questioned.
And when more and more people start get brainwashed because of that to listen to the record, you scale down the bottom and real people pick up the heavy lifting. That's what I've heard. Now,
that's what I've seen as well. I would agree that it is industry standard. And these type of tactics, like I said in my intro, have been done before streaming even was a thing. Because perceived success of a record is definitely something that could get casual listeners that might not have been interested in listening to Project to give it a listen. It's almost similar to when you get like a movie that starts to get all this Oscar buzz. And because of that buzz, people get FOMO and head out to the theater to go see the movie.
I don't want to center this just around Kendrick because I know Drake fans want to do that. There's a lot of botters in the game. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of botters in the game. The big artists, and again, let me just take it off of Kendrick. The big artists
Taylor
in the game,
Swift, everybody. Okay? The Weeknd.
If they're going to indulge in botting, it's going to be between 10 to 30%. They're not doing more than that, okay? They're not doing more than that.
I've definitely heard stories of people abusing the system even worse. There was this one artist who I shall not name, but the dude was putting out records and getting millions of streams and honestly getting a lot of looks because of that. He was already signed to a production deal, but because of all these numbers, they were able to partner up with a bigger label. But once that label took over the distribution, they noticed some huge discrepancies because the guy couldn't fill out a show, even in the markets that he was doing great in, allegedly. So the people that abuse the botting system will get exposed. Just give it some time.
Now, do I think Spotify should let us know who's doing this?
And again, I want to reiterate that the botting stuff obviously would affect the total streaming numbers, something that we have yet to see because Kendrick's numbers have not seen that big cut. And also, like I was saying earlier, Akademiks did allegedly talk to his contact over at Spotify who confirmed these streams are real. Even though I really feel like Spotify isn't going to be too transparent when it comes to that. But to say any more than like, yeah, the industry standard 10 to 20%, you'd have to be delusional. Because the impact Kendrick Lamar has had over the last year is definitely something tangible that we can see with our own eyes. It's not just digital numbers, you know? The guy is definitely moving the cultural needle.
Yes. I don't think Drake. No, I don't think Kendrick. Not Kendrick. I don't think Cardi. I don't think Cardi bots.
He may not bot. He may not be the one paying for any of this stuff. But to think that the label isn't fluffing up the numbers, you'd be crazy to think otherwise.
It don't make no sense. But you never know. Yo, chat, you really never know, bro. But I don't think he bots at all. Ironically, supposedly Drake was the number one streamed artist in the month of March. So if you're wondering, the most streamed artist on Spotify,
and obviously it wasn't by much. And with a catalog that is that much bigger than Kendrick Lamar's, honestly, it looks great for Kendrick. The guy has like a third of the music and is basically on par with Drake's numbers.
I don't know if this is minus the bots, but Drake narrowly beat out Kendrick Lamar. He beat out Cardi. Travis Scott, Future, Ye still up there. Got Eminem, Tyler, the Creator. We have Doechii. Wow.
There's definitely a lot of bot rumors and industry plant rumors surrounding her as well, even though the music is obviously great. But again, guys, this is the music business, and to think that these companies are going to leave things to chance, man, you are sadly mistaken. I know people want to say it's for the love of the game, it's for the art, but at the end of the day, these companies are in the business of making money through their music.
Am I a hater if I'm like, I haven't fully committed to the Doechii wave yet, but the numbers are telling me that it's lit. I'm always a little curious when the numbers are telling me something that my soul and my heart ain't.
Well, like I said earlier, she had a career-defining moment with her album winning Rap Album of the Year. So a lot of people that probably have never listened to Doechii or didn't know who she was would go and search out the project. So this current month's numbers is going to be more of an indicator where she stands. She is definitely an artist that a lot of people are thinking very highly of.
Ain't telling me yet. But she does seem talented, though. And I am
supremely talented, yeah.
We got Wayne, Juice WRLD, Savage, Baby, Don Toliver. Damn, Savage
Legacy
is out
acts.
streaming Baby, and Baby just dropped an album? Wow. You know, I talked to Savage the other night, right? So I told him, I said, man, you need a drop. Y'all need a Savage album right now?
Okay, that would be pretty dope.
Savage need a drop. We got Don Toliver, Doja Cat, Nicki Minaj, X, Rocky, and Cole. Now, I don't want to make this say, oh, Kendrick is the bot guy.
No, that's obviously what everyone is trying to like insinuate, but that can't be the case when it's obviously an industry standard practice. And I know people now are trying to make a big deal of Spotify removing streams, but this is something that they have always done. They've always purged a lot of these fake streams, just like YouTube purges a lot of their fake views as well. And now with them allegedly saying they're going to penalize people for these practices, people are definitely going to have to be more careful when it comes to this.
Okay. Just to explain, when I say K-bots, I'm usually referring to this ideology
That Kendrick stands.
I believe Kendrick fans spew out like literally robots. They have no nuanced thinking. They repeat talking points. They talk, and the talking points come from not like us.
This is crazy because this is the same thing that has been said about Akademiks and the rest of the OVO army. And when they speak, they choose to not include facts at all. So it's pretty funny that he's using these points against Kendrick fans.
Now, has Kendrick did a little 1-2 finessing? Probably, but I'm not going to chastise him for doing that because he ain't the first and he won't be the last. So that's not really why I say K-bots. The K-bots, to me, are the people who are...
The mindless drones, NPCs, is what he's referring to.
Lack nuanced thinking that just speak in song lyrics from...
Pot calling the kettle black right now.
All right.
This is hilarious, man. Definitely the pot calling the kettle black because Akademiks chooses to leave facts out of a lot of his arguments. But the fact is, bots are an industry-wide practice. Even for the artists claiming that it's not being done for them, why would they go out and actually confirm that they have done it? And sometimes they may actually believe that, but it's unknowingly being done behind their backs because, like I said, these labels aren't really going to take a chance. You have one bad flop, it's enough to downsize a lot of these labels, and it's happened many a times. So they're more than likely always going to fluff up these numbers, especially first week, because like I said earlier, that perceived success is going to cause a lot of people that maybe wouldn't have given the music a shot. But Akademiks, you have no right to say anything about Kendrick Lamar fans when you said some of the things you said about this whole situation. At least you aren't putting the whole bot situation on Kendrick Lamar solely, because with him, if there is any of that stuff going on at all, it's going to be very minimal, because like I said, we are seeing a tangible impact that he's having on the culture. We can see this stuff. We can see the social impact he's had. We could see him filling up these arenas. But I would definitely say there's definitely a lot more Drake bots than K bots, and that would be expected from someone that has been the golden goose for Universal, the biggest conglomerate in music the world has seen, you know? I feel like these drop-offs, even though slight, are natural when we get further away from those big moments, Like I said, the Grammys, the Super Bowl halftime show, or the music drops. The fact that we're only seeing drops with the monthly listeners and the songs like streaming totals are staying relatively the same is enough to tell me that Kendrick Lamar's streaming numbers are mostly legit. It's also crazy to see that Kendrick Lamar is also keeping up streaming wise with Drake when its catalog is so much smaller. And that's definitely a big sign that obviously Kendrick Lamar's stock has risen, no matter how many times the OVO army wants to claim that it was all artificially inflated. These big career-defining moments are obviously going to create big surges in your music streams that are going to last for weeks, so it's expected that the monthly listeners are going to go up by a lot when you have these people that may have discovered your catalog for the first time. But definitely let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that his monthly listeners going down is any indicator of him using bots? I obviously don't think that's the case, but definitely let me know what you guys think. And also, do you guys agree with Act that the K-bots are the ones that are acting irrational? But honestly, from my perspective, I have seen a ton more Drake stands with erroneous narratives, including Akademiks himself. So definitely let me know what you guys think. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button, guys. It does the channel wonders. I really want to thank you guys so much for making this channel a part of your day. It honestly means the world to me, and all the love and support that you guys continue to show this channel on a daily is honestly overwhelming. So I really want to let you guys know how grateful I am for all of it. I'm really interested in hearing what you guys have to say on this topic. Hope you guys love this video, and I hope to see you guys soon. People see a decrease in monthly listeners, and the first thing they jump to is bots without actually looking at the song stream totals. Comprehension skills are at an all-time low right now.